Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that actually gives you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so guys, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, that notification icon so you can never miss an upload. Alright, so guys, I want to talk about basically Madden basics. This is back to basics. I've got a lot of subscribers that I work with that are fairly new to the game and don't know a lot of the mechanics of the game. And it's a difference between a good player, basically an okay player, and a good player, and obviously a great player, because a lot of the pros understand the mechanics and understand all the features, and they know how to go ahead and disguise their coverage and make their coverages more difficult. You ever play against somebody and it just seems like you can just carve up their offense all day, and then the next time you play another game, you play against somebody and the defense isn't playing the way it's supposed to. You go back to the huddle, you look at the play art, and like, well, why was that guy playing a certain, why does defender pick that last ball off? Well, a lot of it has to do with making manual adjustments to coverages. So this is going to be basic breakdown on how to use the global adjustments to actually make adjustments on defense, and it will make your game in a lot better by doing global adjustments. You don't have to go ahead and do manual adjustments on individual players. I'll do that for another tutorial because it's fairly complex. I'm going to talk about global because global is the difference, is the first level of being really elite at Madden, at defense when it comes to Madden. Alright, so I'm going to come out just basically in a, let's see, probably, I'm just going to come out in a cover 3 sky. It's a really good defense to use against someone that is, you know, it's a good defense, it's a good stout run defense. It's a good defense to go ahead and use against your opponent if you don't necessarily know what he's going to do. It's like a good base defense to come out of. Now, if you take a look at this right now, you've got 3 deep blue defenders. You've also got basically 4 down linemen are actually going to be rushing the ball, and then you've also got Claud Flats and then yellow zone. So this is going to be a more common play that you're going to run into online, which is going to be mesh. We're going to have 2 crossing routes, and what happens is, a lot of times what happens is the opponent can actually go ahead and hit those crossing routes pretty much all game. So those little drag routes should be wide open. A lot of times people will wait for them to get into the flats a little bit longer before they hit them, but this is a very common passing concept, common stock play that you'll run into. So one of the ways to go ahead and shut down those routes is actually going ahead and making an adjustment with your coverages. Now if you take a look, if you hit your Y or triangle button, you'll see coverage adjustments, and you'll see over the top, underneath, inside, and outside. Now most players use either over the top or underneath as their coverages, but if you go ahead and do underneath, notice how those purples now turn into hard flats, and those hook curls, they haven't really changed much, but I'm going to show you they're going to play a little bit further down on the line and actually beat against those type of passes. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this in instant replay. So watch these crossing routes right here. These guys were actually falling underneath, but you can see the defenders actually bite down. They bite down. This guy is biting down into the passing lane. This guy's biting down in the passing lane. So if you get an opponent that just runs a lot of shallow routes, drag routes, one of the fastest and easiest adjustments to mess up the rhythm is basically you go ahead and hit them with a with hard flats, which is basically doing underneath coverage. Now the converse of that is triangle and doing over the top, and you'll see this play will be wide open underneath for those little dragging routes, and your opponent can essentially go ahead and hit you with it. So the only time I do over the top coverage is maybe in 3rd and long type of situation. I'd rather give up the underneath route and try to go ahead and do a nice little tackle for a 5-yard gainer. When I know it's like a 3rd and 4th or 4th down situation, I'll do over the top because I don't want to get beat over the top. But if your opponent is forcing the ball underneath, the quickest way to go ahead and shut it down, especially if he's forcing the ball, is just doing triangle and then clicking down on the right stick. And what's going to happen is now these defensive players are going to go ahead and play underneath, and as you can see right there, the CPU is screwed up, didn't know where to go with the ball, and you actually took a loss right there. So very easy way to go ahead and stop underneath routes with the global adjustments. Now if you got an opponent that's using a lot of sideline patterns, in particular, what you can do is you can do underneath and then go back up top again. Now you saw how it said hard flats. Let's show you right now. If you do underneath coverage, it shows hard flats. So this is kind of an advanced tactic that most pros know what to do. Most pros know what to do is that if you go ahead and do over the top coverage, it doesn't go back to purple, it goes to Claud Flats. Now what happens is these safeties and that linebacker is actually going to go ahead and play the sideline. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into a different offensive play to kind of demonstrate how this works. So one of the more popular routes in the game is a circle route by the wide receiver. And basically what's going to happen is Curse is going to go inside and then go back to the sideline. Now if the CPU makes the right read, what's going to happen is that he's going to go ahead and see that circle route on the back end side. So let's go ahead and see if we can show that to you. So we're going to do hard flats here. We're going to watch basically the underneath routes here. So the computer didn't make the right throw, but I want to show you something that a lot of pros will make the right throw. So this route is one of the more annoying routes to defend in the game. So if he comes in a little bit and then he circles out. Now a lot of pros will know that this route is actually throw. They know that the passing lane is already clear. And the reason why is that this route is actually going to go ahead and just he could do basically sideline pass, because he's going to be inside this coverage right here and actually go ahead and catch the sideline pass. Now with hard flats, what happens is this defender is actually going to go ahead and play a hard flat as opposed to playing a deep ball. So let me show you how you can get a sideline player to actually go, you can have a defender actually play the sideline and play the higher passes, because obviously if I'm going to give up a pass, I'd rather give up a 5-yard pass opposed to which is going to be a 20-yard pass with the circle route. So you can do that by going ahead and making an adjustment into Claud Flats. So what you do with Claud Flats is you actually do underneath coverage. See where it says hard flats? Now what you're going to do is you're going to do over the top coverage, and it's going to be Claud Flats. Now I want you to watch what happens with this defender right here who's got the force indicator over on him, the F indicator. He's going to basically go ahead and play basically the sideline more than anything else, and what's going to happen is actually he's going to defend that sideline to take away those high routes. Now why that's critical, I know that he got the ball off, but I'm looking for him to throw this defender right here. So watch, he actually goes ahead and plays the sideline, but instead of actually biting down on this guy, he's playing the sideline. He's actually looking for a passing lane, looking for the QB to throw a ball over here. He's actually playing this area, he's playing that sideline. So it's one of the good indicators of what type of defense you're running against. A lot of players online play a lot of Claud coverage, and they take away sidelines, and they'll actually be here to go ahead and bottle up a gainer for about 5 yards, but they'll never give a big gainer because they're playing Claud coverage. So that's one of the indicators of global adjustment with coverages that you need to learn how to do. Now, other adjustments you can do with global adjustments is press. You can go ahead and put your guys down the press. That's kind of intimidating to look at. It also will put people in position to go ahead and just be for like, you know, flat routes or low routes. It will take away your CPU's reads, or take away your the reads a little bit by our computer. So you can see right there, that was a Claud flat, and actually because he was in position right there, he was able to go ahead and make a break on that little out route. So let's just go ahead and take a look at how because I pressed, it might have messed up his reads a little bit. This guy comes out and he's getting depth, and then because the ball was passed off to the right, he's able to go ahead and make a play in that Claud flat area and actually go ahead and take a pick six. So that could have been a good easy pick six, but if the ball was thrown up, he would have been able to trail back this way to go ahead and take away that deep pass too. So you can press. Another thing a lot of players do is they'll show blitz. Sometimes it just gets players in different positions, but you're going to see a lot of people actually use a lot of Claud flat coverage. Now, very popular coverage that most players will come out of is actually going to be cover 3 shell type situation, and then it'll actually just go ahead and do up on the coverages and go into Claud coverage. So don't be surprised you don't see Claud coverage in this game. It's going to be something it's going to be very common to run against. And you can see right there the defenders in the area for the flat take that away. So very easy to do, to go ahead and take away those routes like that. Most players don't use inside coverage or outside coverage. It really doesn't make much of a difference. I don't see much of a difference. If you guys see some of the difference, let me know, but I don't. Now, some of the other coverage adjustments you can do is you can give cushion. You can back your guys off, so it just pushes people off. Giving a cushion is more likely something you're going to do against when you're playing against somebody in like a last second type of situation. You'll give a cushion. Most players will actually go ahead and press, but giving a cushion, it would be good if you try to do hard flats. It might actually bait someone to go ahead and throw a ball, but those safeties are definitely going to be out of place. And then other adjustments too is basically doing man align, which is using the triangle and then the R button. This will actually mess people up because with zone, primarily because it's going to switch players up a little bit. They're going to fall into basically their appropriate zones, but it just might mess up your opponent's reads a little bit. So that's something you might want to consider doing. If you just want to give him a look like he's getting a man look and then you just do man align, it might throw him off a little bit. But you can see right there, he actually got that off because I didn't do a Claud flat, and I'll show you the coverage right there. I just went with hard flats, and he came out and played the hard flat. He didn't split the difference, and that's why you want to go ahead and use Claud flats. You want to be more liberal with Claud flats until your opponent, unless your opponent's just shitting flats and drag routes. You want to use Claud flats. It's going to be a little bit safer bet, and most of the good Madden players know that that's the type of the coverage that they want to use. Another adjustment you could do too is you can use basically the sticks, and what this basically is going to do is it's going to have the guys play about basically where the first down markers at. They're going to play a little bit deeper depth because they don't want to give the first down. So that's another adjustment that a lot of Madden players don't necessarily talk about, is playing the sticks, and that's good on a third down or fourth down situation. Fourth and long, you're not going to go ahead and give up anything past the sticks. So definitely a third and long situation, you would do the sticks is probably an ideal situation. So we'll see what happens if we do a hard flat with the sticks. Let's see if a flat defender goes out there or he actually floats up. So you could see he actually plays right there. He plays a little bit to the flat, so you still want to go ahead and probably go with a Claud flat to make sure that you've got that stick route. It's going to try to, all these defenders should be playing right at the 20-yard line. So you can see how they kind of stop right there at the 20-yard line. They're going to say, I'm going to let you let anything below underneath that yardage area. They're going to basically let it happen. So it plays like a loose, basically a loose hard flat, but it puts it at the 20-yard area. So you can see right there, I'm getting easy stops because of the way this defense plays. So these are basically some global adjustments, and it's going to be strictly for the global adjustments for the coverages, and you're really going to access that by hitting the triangle button. That's going to be the area you're going to get. You're going to have basically the cushion, you're going to have the press, you're going to have the base align. Base align is probably the most common thing that a lot of players use. They use base align to set up their blitzes. It's just going to show basically a too high shell. You got underneath and you got over the top. As far as inside and outside, guys, I find no access. I don't find it any good. I know that some people think it works for them. I don't personally think it makes much of a difference. But this is basically the coverage adjustments for this game, the global adjustments, and it's going to help you dramatically with your gameplay. With actually making more stops on defense as far as coverage is concerned. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go show you basically quick adjustments for the defensive line. I'm also going to show you quick adjustments for the linebackers too, and these are ways to go ahead and just make your game a little bit better. So to my subscribers, thanks for your support. Make sure you hit the like button, and thanks a lot. Until next time.